Welcome to the Doom Kitchen. This is not a news show. It's a talk show. We do not give financial, legal, medical, or any kind of advice. We are not responsible for the actions of our listeners. You are responsible for you. If anything offends you, we were only joking. Promise.
Welcome to the Doom Kitchen. I'm Ando, and today I have an actual chef, and he's also a doomer. What's up, Chef Jake?
How we doing, man? I like the intro.
Pretty good. Thanks. Yeah. Just been driving around all day. I got to have lunch with fellow Media Monarchy member Phytophiliac, who was just on the show. I believe it was episode 7. Was it? No, 8? Yeah, I think it was 8. So, that was really cool. But tell us about yourself, Jake.
Where to start? I've been cooking since I was 15 years old. I took about 3 years off and did retail and couldn't stand it. And so now I'm 37. That's 19 years of cooking. Born in Texas, grew up in Alaska, got into some stupid shit and ended up in rehab when I was 22 with 2 DUIs. Decided to turn my life around, and at a cooking job decided if I was going to do this for a living, I needed to get good at it. And that was 13 years ago, and that's kind of really where the journey started. But also I started to go down the rabbit hole in 2012. Officially, I was always kind of there with, government conspiracy, Iran Contra, and some shady stuff's going on. But that's when I went over and was like, whoa, this is way deeper than we know. So
9/11, or I mean, it was about 11 years after, but
it was that geoengineering, GMO foods, all this stuff all at once just kind of hit me, and I was like, boom, it's all encompassing kind of thing. And so that's really drove me into high gear with trying to get my skills to the point where not only can I do most of this at home on my own and cook for myself, not eat the garbage that's out there, but also to try and learn it all so I can teach other people, because that's becoming a lost art, I feel like. So that was a meandering intro, but that's kind of where I'm at right now. Stepped down from a 9.5-year position at my last job. I'm no longer an executive chef. I just work catering, and I'm loving it. So a little bit more free time.
Cool. Yeah. So I'm really hoping that it sounds better to our audience than me, because all the audio was just distorting. I'm actually in Texas right now, and I'm also a Texan. But yeah, I'm over at a truck stop and out in the middle of the forest. So you never know how the signal's going to be out here. So much reliance on technology, but technology also is a tool to push back against the insanity. But we probably shouldn't get too attached to it. And I know you're a doomer as well. What do you think about what kind of cooking implement should people have in preparation for what might get crazy?
Well, you need to have your equipment in line. And sorry if my voice is weird. I've been fighting a cold for a few days, so that's not helping. But you want to have some equipment. You want to be able to do canning. Look into fermenting. It's one of the oldest ways to preserve food. So, while we have the internet, go find some charts with ratios for different vegetables on your salt. And what else?
Salt is so important. It used to be money. And,
you're worth your salt.
And they
pay
sell
their
those
soldiers.
big rocks. Yeah. And they used to say they sell those big salts in the hippie store. So the big crystals. So that's a good way to hang on to that. I forgot who recommended that to me.
Well, they use them for lamps, but you should always have it around. Lactobacillus is what they use for fermenting vegetables. It's on your veggies when you get them. Hopefully, if you grow them yourself, even better. so it's not sprayed with all the pesticides that wipe the stuff off. But like using that and using wild yeast to make bread or anything else like that is just, I feel like finding the old ways that worked for so long is what's going to help us get through this. I wrote this part down. We've had so many generations of fast food where food's becoming fake and becoming way too easy, but it's not real food. It's hang on here. Yeah, Better Living Through Chemistry has pretty much failed us for so long now. You got Bayer inventing heroin to get people off morphine, and now you got Purdue giving us Oxycontin. And basically, same thing happened with heroin: is they fudge the numbers, they give them faulty studies, and then it ends up killing a bunch of people, getting them hooked, and making them a shit ton of money. Which before they get busted and settle lawsuits, it's going to cost them, a fraction of what they made off, destroying us. And we're so many generations into that I feel like it's going to be harder and harder to dig people out. And that's why, for me, the skills as a currency is kind of what I'm leaning toward, because I live in the burbs. I'm not really in the position to, have livestock and anything else, but I can grow a garden, I can store some food and learn how to can and do all this other stuff. I feel like learning the process now and saving records of how you do it is going to help a lot. Canning may seem like a simple thing, but it's a process. You got to make time for it. You got to have your citric acid or even just a lot of citrus around to get things. pH tester is very handy as well. Don't get a cheap one.
Right.
Yeah. Like, I don't have huge stocks of food.
Yeah.
But any kind of food that comes my way, I'll figure out what to make with it,
Yeah, and also for all the people that it's great to have those food buckets. It's cool to have as many of those as you can possibly have, but your best bet is going to be getting real food with actual nutrition and hunt and all the other stuff. Those things are mostly preservatives, and you can read the ingredients on them for it takes about 10 minutes to finish reading the ingredients in that stuff.
You can't pronounce half of them, and if you can't make it in your own kitchen, then why are you eating it? It really drives me kind of nuts. It's becoming kind of a lost art, and it's kind of some other things I was writing down about, like allergies and vegans and stuff like that. Like, over the last decade in kitchens, it's become so common. People will come in and be like, well, I'm vegan, I can't have this, and this. You fix it. You make it happen for me. Or allergies, like their doctor won't talk to them about what to feed themselves or to learn to cook, but they'll give them a little card. Here's the 12 things I'm allergic to. Go figure it out and make me some food, and I'll complain if it's not good. Like, people need to figure out what the hell they're putting in their bodies. And, for me, a long time ago, I was almost a victim of the opioid epidemic. I started on the path. And I just feel like all this give me convenience or give me death is really going to be the death of us. Like, people need to figure out how to take care of themselves. And that's
sure.
Not going to the doctor and getting prescribed a bunch of shit,
Yeah, and all of these allergies, a lot of them just kind of popped up out of nowhere. People weren't allergic to a lot of this stuff until the last couple decades.
Until they increased the childhood vaccines, pretty much right after I got my rounds, the vaccine schedules, injecting a bunch of weird shit. Now you got all these peanut allergies were never a thing before. Don't get me down that rabbit hole.
Right. Well, I mean, that's one of the great things about having you, is because I know what you listen to, and we haven't really talked too much before this, but I know that we're all in the same circles and we're going to get along great. But yeah, it was that, and or it was very likely that. There we go. I can't make a definitive statement because YouTube will get mad at me.
They probably will anyway.
Yeah. I'm counting the days. By the way, if y'all are listening, I have an Odyssey channel, and you can find me through Podcasting 2.0 by searching up Burn Babylon Burn, the sister show to this one. That's mostly current events. There, plug. Got it. So cast iron skillets, pretty good. Good blades. I've started going nuts on picking up blades anytime I see one that I like.
Yeah, you want to have a good one. You want to have a good sharpening kit, and just keep that shit sharp. Keep it safer, actually. But I have millions of knives laying around, but the two that I actually use, I spent some money on, and best investment I made. It really is for someone who uses them as much as me.
Yeah.
But
What I endured an advertisement on YouTube the other day, which I usually don't do. But it was these big, crazy, awesome carbon steel chef's knives. What do you think of those?
haven't seen them. I prefer just handmade, like Japanese steel if possible. But if you need like a good workhorse that you don't have to be as fragile with, go for German. But for the most part, also don't put them in the dishwasher. Don't use harsh chemicals to clean them. It will dull your blade. I'll say that. And yeah, just always have the right tool for the job.
Yeah, for those people out there that would put cast iron in the dishwasher or even put soap anywhere near it.
Yeah. No, I love cast iron. I use it for camping and making bread, but my freaking suburban stove up there is a glass cooktop, and I can't use it. I hate it.
Yeah. I prefer fire as well, but I can't even cook in the truck anymore. So I used to do regional trucking stuff, so I was able to keep a George Foreman grill in the truck, and that's what I would use to cook everything with. But now I change trucks. I go truck to truck all the time. And so I don't have anything I can cook with, no microwave, no water boiler, any of the stuff. Not that it's great to be around a microwave. It just beats having to eat fast food all the time or whatever else you have to do. The gas stoves are really great. I just walked by a truck out there, and he's got a little hibachi grill in front of his truck waiting for the coals to cool.
Oh, yeah. Like I've noticed too, doing all this catering, it's a lot like camping. You got to make sure you're all packed and ready to go where everything's at, organized. But yeah, I've lived out of a camp kitchen. We took a month-long road trip once long story. We tried to start an organic farm with some friends from Portland. Didn't pan out, and we didn't know where we were going to live after that. So we just took off in the truck, camped for 4 weeks, ended up back where we were before Portland. And then, I don't know, I guess we kind of learned that people are the same no matter where you go, but you still just got to do you and have your whole shit ready. I lived out of a camp kitchen for months, man. Like even when we moved to Spokane when we were waiting for the house, it's rough.
Yeah, I used to live in a van, and that's how I would go with my little
did
gas
for a
stove,
month.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
I did for a month, and it wasn't bad. I liked it.
I've done a lot of bike touring as well, and I had an entire pannier bag filled with everything I cooked with, and man, yeah, it's fun deciding what you can make while you're riding along. Like I would come up with dinner while I was riding with whoever, and I would be like, I'm gonna do this on the side of the road, and it always made it more special just because it was made on the side of the road. Like making pad thai with quinoa instead of noodles on the side of the road was really fun.
Pad thai's a good one. It sells good. Oh,
right. What kind of restaurant are you in?
Right now, I'm doing catering at a wedding and events place. For the longest time, I was at a bistro and martini bar. They called it. They're phasing away from that name because that's so 2001. But my husband still works for them. He's a bartender. So I still get to hear all the inside baseball and what's going on with them. But I had to leave because after the shutdowns, being shorthanded for a year and a half, and was there 60 hours a week, work phone's always going off, and on top of that, all the shortages, and don't even get me started on the people that you can hire after all the worker shortages. But yeah, it burnt me out. I was I was basically dying. So I was just like, I have to leave. So now I'm at this catering place, trying to work my way up the ladder a little bit, but also enjoying the calm and not being the guy in charge of all of it. Because yeah, it got really weird the last couple of years.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I'm in trucking, and I keep hearing crazy stuff about fuel shortages. And just before we started talking, I'm walking into the truck stop, and I see them wrapping the truck pumps in yellow caution tape. And I didn't really want to talk about the diesel shortage that's come up in the news yet, because people have mentioned it. A lot of my friends have texted me like, "Hey, what's up with this diesel shortage? What do you know? What do you know?" And I'm like, "Well, I've heard that we're at the lowest amount of diesel since 2008, but that doesn't really mean anything yet. I noticed that prices are sitting around the same spot, but whenever we stop, it cuts things to you guys, cuts things to everything else, you know?"
Yeah, no, I've been hearing the rumors, and for me, I don't like to start tripping about it really till I'm sure that it's real. And that's the problem with all of the media nowadays, is you can't tell if it's real until boom, they fucking smack you with it. And so yeah, if that's really
Yeah.
becoming a thing though, then we got some issues, because if those trucks stop running, then we got like
Luckily, they're
three
just
days.
testing the pumps. Yeah. They're testing the pumps, but like, yeah, I think they send those things out as trial balloons, see what we do, see how we react to it.
Right. And they probably did it. I'm guessing that like all the Ebola and what was it, SARS and MERS and all that stuff, those are all kind of test runs. And even back in the 70s when they did the smallpox vaccine, whatever, carrot, whatever they want to call it, like they're judging our reactions. These people know how our brains work. And so I feel like that's how they craft the narratives, but it's like still, I've been waiting for shit to hit the fan since 2012, and I never thought they would pull the fucking pandemic card. And so now what's next? Like, it's got me kind of on my toes. Like, if it was a diesel shortage, we've been talking about how the trucks keep us going for so long, and we're 3 days away from not having any food in any place, where you don't have every season to grow. And it's, so now it's just even getting more real, I guess. Like, I've
Well, part
always,
of it is logistics. I mean, I'm sure that butter is made somewhere closer than Illinois, and it doesn't necessarily need to go all that way to get to Houston. So if diesel does get shortened, then we can make it to where, I mean, I'll lose money out of this, but I can deal with losing money so long as we're not losing our lives, or
yeah,
um, at least something. So yeah, there's the supply lines are weird though, because the way they've set them up is there's an expectation that something in Illinois can go all over the country, and
that quick. Yeah.
instead of having a place in Georgia, a place in New York, a place there and there and there,
No, I feel that because we work with US Foods. They're like a conglomerate food supplier for restaurants, food service, whatever. A few years ago, it used to be a kind of locally owned company that was a few states wide or whatever. They got bought out, and US Foods took over right when the shutdowns were happening, all the layoffs were happening, everything slowed down. All the OG guys quit, and they all hated how the new management was being run, like this new business model we have to follow. They all hated it. And my neighbor's son, he still works for him, and he tells me all the horror stories. Like, they'll hire in all these drivers. After 2 weeks, one of them's left, and then he just crashed a truck, so he's probably not going to be there much longer. The warehouse people are a shit show because there's no one there to train them. And it's the same in meatpacking plants. It's the same in all these places where you've had people doing it for so long, and they were just on the edge of retirement. And now it all gets yanked out from under them, and they're like, oh well, screw this, I'm just going to get out of this right now, screw these kids. And like, they've already been sick of the kids for a while. I know my mom was in the hospital 10 years ago. Like, and I feel like that's in every industry right now. It's in shipping, it's in restaurants, it's in hospitals. It's getting to the point where it also doesn't help that everyone's asking for more money, and our money's worth less. So even if they do decide to pay you more, eventually it's not worth anything more. It's quite the
yeah.
conundrum, man. It really is.
I've been in places where I sit in the door for hours and hours just because they're short staffed as far as
Yeah.
people that can run the forklift.
You're like, dude, let me
And
in there. I'll unload it for you. Just let me get out of here. You know?
no, No, I'm
Nope.
taking a
I'm
nap.
union. I'm union. We're good. Yeah.
And they're paying me for layover, so I'm taking a nap and I'm getting paid for layover for the nap. But yeah,
Not me. I'm like, I'm behind. I have like an hour to get this done, and I cannot afford to be sitting here waiting for your ass. But you know, hashtag
yeah,
chef life.
right, yeah. Well, truckers, we get paid to wait a lot of times, so that's one of the perks. Sometimes we don't get paid to wait, and that's why there's a lot of truckers that are super impatient. But yeah, always a little bit of a drama at these here truck stops and ports and
Well, yeah, I
and
heard that was
docks.
making it. I heard that was making it weird at the ports when there was the backlog of all the tankers coming in. That like people may not be getting paid that much for what they're going in to grab, and if they have to wait 3 hours to even get in to go grab it, it's not worth a lot of people's time. That was a long time ago. I heard that. Well, a year, but yeah.
So do you
So
know anything? Oh, go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
Okay. I'm jumping all over the place because I'm just kind of like that. That's just the way my brain works at the moment. But yeah. Do you know anything about processing?
Processing meat.
Yeah.
I have some skills when it comes to breaking down cuts that have already been processed and sent to me. When it comes to straight up raw, fresh kills, I don't have much experience. But I did a recent podcast I listened to. There was a guy talking about his project he's working on. It's called the Beef Initiative, and his
Oh,
thing
Texas
was,
Slim.
yeah, that was him.
Yep.
You know, having to go through these big plants to get the full nationwide certification just to even cut down meat is such a bottleneck for any sort of rancher farmer. And also, the harder it is to do it, it turns people off from doing it. But if you can have just local places set up everywhere that'll let you get through state regulations to sell it throughout the state, then you could make a shit ton of money, most likely, if you can figure out how to raise your animals sustainably, or at least do it on a good rotation and make it good for the land that you're on. And it also helps the land get better for planting and stuff later on, you know, all that stuff. You've heard it. But like that's
Oh, yeah.
kind of where I'm at. I want to help out. I haven't found a rancher nearby, but I do think it's about time to buy a half a cow. I have extra freezer space. But when it comes to actually, you know, bleeding them and boning them and all that kind of stuff like that, I have a little bit of skill, but I am not by any means what some of these guys can do. And
Yeah.
yeah.
I spent years as a vegetarian and then some of those years also vegan. So like I never learned this stuff. My dad's a big time hunter, but I never went out with him on that. Fishing when I was a kid, but that's it. But yeah, it seems like we're gonna have to go primitive, or at least by our estimation primitive, even if we're going back to 1900s. It's or 1920s. You know, if we're going back that far, we're still not. We're gonna have to deal with stuff like not having refrigerators and things like that. Possibly.
Yeah. You got to figure it out. I mean,
Yeah.
like my mom said that her grandmother raised 13 kids with a garden, a canner, and they had a butcher nearby. But I'm curious, how was the whole veganism thing for you? Because I got some thoughts on that. Like, why did you leave?
Well, yeah. Why I left? I ordered some food and it was in Spanish, so I messed up and I ended up getting steak in my beans, and I'm like, I'm not gonna throw this away. I was in any place where I could just hand it off to somebody, and I know that soon, because of the situations that we're dealing with, that I'm going to have to eat this. You know, and I should be grateful for it anyway. You know, I'm not gonna waste something like that. And so I tried it, and it was really mental in the beginning. Like wrapping my head around it and thinking about it too much while I was doing it was really weird. But I felt really fulfilled, and I felt like I had a new level of energy afterwards. and I became a vegetarian when I was 8 years old. So
Oh, wow.
it it was it was a big change, big difference, and
It kind of set you free
yeah,
from
and
the block that was there. I have,
yeah,
kind of
I
similar
think it makes
thing.
me more versatile. Yeah,
Like I have kind of a similar thing.
yeah. It really.
We tried doing
Sorry, the
keto for.
signal is.
Oh, are you losing me? I'm here. I'm here. You're freezing up.
Cool. Okay, I can hear you now, I think.
Okay, yeah, I'm here. Like
Oh,
my somewhat similar thing was I went through
okay.
some years of bad stomach problems, and after a while, me and my husband decided to try keto. And it really did help my stomach feel better and help me get through the days better. But then toward the end of it, my muscles started getting weak, and like we started seeing this voodoo doctor, we call him. He's like, you really need to eat some carbs, man. You need to eat some carbs, but you don't eat processed food. You need to start. He's the one that got me doing sourdough. I got my sourdough starter from his wife, and he's getting me into this. And now that I'm actually retaining weight, and oh snap, did I lose you? Oop, there you are.
Oh, hey.
You're back.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I'm glad to be back, but that was really weird. It got really bad for a minute, and it's showing full bars and everything, but yeah. Well, let's just go back to that. So your experience with the keto diet.
Yeah, like I'm sure it's great for some people, but where my body was at, I wasn't ready for it. And right now I'm trying to build myself back up and get my strength and my muscles working right. And, my back and my shoulder have been pretty good lately because of this guy. Like I trust him. He has a background in sports medicine. And so I'm to the point where as long as I'm not eating processed breads and carbs and stuff, then I'm okay. And it's been a ride. There's so many different diets and lifestyles and choices, but it's all on the internet, and there's no way to really choose what's the best for you unless you want to go to a doctor and they'll give you a pill. And
Yep.
so just finding what works for you, I think, is the most important. Like, don't let people coerce you into thinking that just one thing, this is the only thing that works for everybody kind of thing, because everyone's different. And it was important because I was bad to the
Yeah.
point I couldn't even like lift heavy objects. My back was out all the time, and my muscles were like literally shaking because I had nothing stored up. And been a lot better lately. Also, quitting the job and less stress has helped, I'm sure. But yeah,
Yeah. I saw this book, and other people have mentioned this to me before, but I haven't really read it or anything like that. But eating for your blood type, I think that's one of the reasons that we're all different. One of the many reasons that some things work for some people and some things don't. I feel like I'm one of those people that I can actually deal with just about anything.
I haven't heard of that one, but I will look it up because I like to geek out on food and nutrition and stuff like that. It's kind of become my hobby. So
And then there's what the Indians are into the Vedic diets and stuff, right? Do you know anything about that?
I don't.
Okay, yeah. Well, one of my friends is into that. Maybe one day I'll ask her. But there's just different kinds of digestion that people have based off their body type, and I think it has something to do with astrology or something kooky like that. But it's still really cool to just think that because we're all different, and that I think that's super cool is that we're all humans, but we all have different strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, and that's the thing about skills as a currency is you learn how to like build and play off each other's strengths and weaknesses. It's just kind of the way things work out the best. But
yeah, that's why we have such I hate saying this because everything's so crappy right now, but that's why we built a great society I hate saying those words. It just sounds like it's such a Barnum statement. But we did. We got trains that can get to places in seconds. We got, this whole trucking infrastructure and everything that just works. And it's because we figured out how to cooperate, what's our advantage, what's our disadvantages, and we outsourced a whole lot, but that's what happened when globalism got introduced to the situation.
Yeah, it's the hard times though. Hard times make strong men, and it's kind of doomer, yeah. But I feel like America's been too comfortable for too long, so we're probably in for it next.
Oh yeah. I think that has a ton to do with it. I was just in a conversation about that. The plummeting of testosterone since the 70s has just gone downhill big time. And one guy estimates that that it's because we haven't been tested, that we haven't had hard times. We've had everything handed to us, and
in a plastic and aluminum wrapper.
Yeah, sleeping on pillows and all the other fun stuff. Yeah. Never had to eat anything rotten.
Oh well. I mean, wherever it goes, I take like a George Carlin, Bill Hicks stance where it's like I got a front row. It's just a ride, and I'm just going to try and enjoy it the best I can while we're doing it. But if I can help in any way, that's why I geek out and try and learn as much as I can about food, because I get, it's a selfish pleasure. I get off on people enjoying something I made for them. It makes me happy. It makes them happy. What's wrong with that? So,
see that there's this mutual beneficial kind of thing that comes from sharing, and that's whenever you've got a really good community, that it makes everything work super well, just because you're doing the thing you love, they're doing the things they love, and then everybody unites for a really great cause. And I think that when we're rebuilding after whatever happens, I mean, right now it's looking like it's going to be a nuclear flash, but who knows? Nobody really knows what's going to happen. Right. And when we're rebuilding, if we survive that, then let's find out that synergy, find out who works with who and who doesn't. And
I wish we could start sooner, because as it is right now with my neighbors, we're friends with all the old ladies, but all the people our age won't even look at us. Like, I'll think they're about to look at me, so I'll raise my hand to wave, and then they look at something else. And they've been here months, year, they won't even look and say hi, or, hey neighbor.
Is it the phone zone? Is it because they're stuck in the phone zone, or just elitist?
I don't know why. It's weird. Yeah. But we're also in Spokane. We're close to Idaho, and I may be a gay male, gay married, but I'm not an LGBTQ or anything like that. I don't come off like that. I don't advertise because I'm happy. But I wonder if it's just them thinking like, oh, we can't talk to them or something. But I also feel like that's so outdated nowadays. Like, it hasn't been a problem for a long time. I don't know. It's weird.
One of my friends just went through the hurricane in Florida a couple months ago, and she was saying how cool it was that with all the people that came together and worked together. So it's like, maybe that's another thing where you need a hardship to find your neighbors, and I mean, the World Economic Forum is cooking up hardship for us all the time.
I'll bet you anything that would be all it took, because I mean, I don't feel like any of them are bad people, but we all kind of get focused on what we're doing and our own little worlds, I guess. But yeah, I haven't really had to go through a situation like that in my life, so I don't know what it's actually like. I wish it was more like that already, because I feel like it's coming.
Yeah, me too. So like, I've seen your cooking show before, and
that thing was so old. Thanks for watching that.
Yeah. Well, no, it's cool. I kind of wanted to have an idea of what we were gonna deal with whenever we talk to each other, just because I like to have an idea of what we can talk about and everything. And so you've been in the Doom game for about 10 years, a little over, right? Or 9 years. Yeah, 9 years. And 2012, you said?
Yeah, that's when it really hit me.
Yeah. And yeah, so the thing, I think that there's just certain people that see it, that, I mean, we've had the propaganda our whole lives, all of the TV shows, like the zombie apocalypse stuff that was super popular for a while there, like with The Walking Dead, and then a ton of movies and video games and everything coming out about it, and then just other apocalyptic fiction. And now I don't think apocalyptic fiction would sell just because we're so close to seeing that in real life all the time.
Yeah, everyone's seen it. I don't know. I grew up really punk rock, anti-authoritarian. I liked old zombie movies where they weren't fast or too scary.
Right? Yeah,
right.
They ruined that trope.
Yeah, it's just like even with the nukes and the nuclear war and even Fukushima and stuff, I was super concerned about that, and I still am. But to me, it's all become just theater, like theater of the mind. That's why when they're not talking about politics, it's got to be something else really scary. And so I don't think, personally, I don't think they're going to nuke the planet because that'd be bad for their wallets. Even though I know it's about power, not money, but still, like, I don't think we're quite there yet. If they were ready to just wipe us out and bail on the planet, it's either that or they go underground or to inner Earth, right? So I don't think we're quite there, but they like to dangle that carrot.
I've heard that they have bunkers, but yeah, I don't see that either. I think that they're more likely to just continue to run their depopulation scheme, then take what remains of the population and alter it to their will, to be the kind of sheeple they want, like the
Morlocks or the Eloi,
the squat hobgoblins. Yeah,
yeah.
What was that paper? Yeah. So yeah, to mold us into the thing that they want to be, and they're still gonna need people to do a lot of things. It's just with less people, the demand goes down, and then
that's my thing. They're trying to, like Elon Musk and all the other celebrity people, or it's like, oh, all this technology is getting so insane, we should be really scared of AI and all this stuff. And I'm like, no, it's going to be janky. It's going to be like Idiocracy, where Carl's Jr. takes your kids, and that's the extent of, I don't know. I feel like it's going to be poorly set up because they cut corners everywhere they go. Look at Microsoft. Look at all these other places. And if the algorithms are getting that smart, then I'm just going to throw my phone away. Yeah, go ahead.
So last week, Burger King in Germany did an ad for Kristallnacht.
Okay.
And it was just really, so they ended up blaming it on AI. And I was listening to No Agenda the other day, and they're saying, this will be the new thing, that they'll just blame everything on AI. So it's just like, oh, that was our AI screwed up. Sorry,
No, that was a deep fake.
That.
Oh, that's so dumb. Yeah, no,
glitch. Yep. Glitch.
I actually, it's kind of it's as much as it's clown world, it's kind of fun. Just interacting with people in my daily life, where anytime they complain about basically anything weird, I'm like, oh yeah, this and this and this, like it's gonna get weirder. Keep going, just like smile and nod, and I'm like, you gotta laugh to not cry. And people think I'm weird for it, but I'm like, well, how else are you gonna keep going? Because it's gonna keep happening. But I don't know.
Yeah, we have German this season. That's gonna be amazing for the clown show. We've got this dude that says good night. So it's gonna be.
I haven't
awesome.
I haven't heard much about
the next season.
I haven't heard much about him, but I've heard some of the gaffes and just all the memes and everything. It's like makes it seem even more fake. Oh well.
Oh yeah, I think it is all orchestrated to a degree. I mean,
it's like a bad soap opera.
But nobody wanted is again the platform
Shit, could you repeat yourself? That kind of froze up for me for a second. Could you repeat that?
I said, no, yeah, but maybe that one is an economic forum like we are. You know, they're not against the. They're all for it. Every single one of the people that won, and so the circus is going to be more interesting, and we're going to see different characters and everything like that. But Agenda 2030 rolls on.
Yeah, always. And that's, like I said, the thing that sent me down the rabbit hole. Geoengineering, GMOs, patenting life. We can do it better than Mother Nature. And I've always felt like if you're going to fuck with Mother Nature, she's going to fuck you back hard. And that's what we're seeing. Better living through chemistry. We'll change everyone's diets. We'll change what everyone's putting into the water, into the air, into what's being jabbed into them. And it doesn't seem to have helped at all. It seems to have caused a lot more problems. I've even, hearing some things between terrain theory and germ theory and stuff about how polio was, they were putting fucking mercury powder on teething children's gums. And it's like, yeah, of course they're developing fucking being paralyzed and all this shit like that. Just the stuff they did back then. Let's put cocaine in cough syrup. What could go wrong? Oh, soda pop? It's fine. What was it? Benzodrine inhalers back in the 50s or whatever. They're cracking those open and just fucking straight up meth. And Adderall. I mean, I don't see it in well.
Yeah.
Damn. I can see your mouth, but I can't hear your voice. Wait, you're back. Still can't. Wait, are you there? Can you hear me? I hear that. Yeah, this isn't working.
I'm white. I'm black. I'm yellow. I'm red.
I'm gay.
And I am the Drizzle, host of Grand Theft World Liberty Radio. Look, man, here's the deal. If you're not listening to Liberty Radio, then you've got a problem with yourself.
Getting that shot really was an amazing feeling. It hits you.